Welcome to the Roman Gabriel Show, RomanGabrielShow.com. Remember, we're here all week long. By my side is a guy who came last year to Phoenix and spoke eloquently, did a great job at our Legends and Leaders event. He's with MVP. He's got a movie coming out, MVP, and of course, I love Nate's story, always have. The guy, the little engine that could, you know what I mean? I tell our kids all the time when we talk to them, hey, if you really want something, you got to go after it. You can't be scared of it. And I always like you to tell that story about how you got to play football and why and when it happened.
Yeah. So growing up, I didn't play, and I regretted it, because it was my favorite sport. And I was a good athlete, not a great athlete, but I played baseball, I played basketball, and eventually got to high school, and I was so focused on trying to, not get cut from the baseball and basketball teams that I just didn't try out for the football team. And I regretted it because it was my favorite sport. So fast forward, years, I joined the military, served for about 10 years, and I'm 29 years old, and I'm coming off of active duty and going into the Guard, and I ended up going to college at University of Texas, and I said, you know what, if I'm going to go, I'm just going to try out for the football team wherever I go. And so I walked on, I made it, just on the scout team, and eventually started long snapping and found a way on the field and started for Texas for 3 years, and then had an opportunity with the Seahawks in 2015.
And you learned to long snap on YouTube.
I did. I learned to long snap on YouTube while I was in Afghanistan, actually, on a rotation.
Nate served our country, several tours, military, and he's doing some great stuff. But I always love to tell that story, especially for our students, because right now with our kids, there's a lot of hopelessness. There's a lot of kids who don't believe that they can have the things that they want. There's a lot of things going on in our country right now where kids, I was at a school yesterday where kids actually said, listen, I get depressed. I have anxiety. You did a tremendous spot for our life skills program last year where you talked about fear and you talked about overcoming fear. So talk to our parents and kids about that. There's so much fear coming out of COVID, so many people who have struggled emotionally, and you deal with MVP and vets and dealing with that, the after effects and mental emotional issues.
I mean, feeling sad, that is a normal emotion that we all are supposed to feel. We're also supposed to feel joy and other things too, right? But I think understanding that is normal, and you're supposed to feel that. You don't want to feel sad all the time, of course, but like if you're trying to run from that emotion or suppress it or whatever because you think you're not supposed to feel it because it doesn't feel good, and it hurts, then you're doing yourself a disservice in some ways, but also like it's going to manifest itself in other ways, and it may turn into something more chronic like a depression. So if you're struggling with something, you need to talk about it with somebody. You need to just share and just be open. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't mean it actually makes you stronger to admit that you're not doing so hot. So that's something that's really hard for a lot of military veterans and athletes to understand, of course, because it's banged into our heads from early on that we're meant to suck it up and drive on and like tough it out, and you're not hurt, you're fine, and it's like that stuff because it doesn't seem manly or something like that, and it's just not true. It's much more manly and strong and tough.